Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Thanks for coming back. Today's video is going to be the chronicles of getting fucked over, aka my life. So today's video is going to be the story of Shai and Steve. So as you can tell by the title of this video, yes, it's true. My best friend did fuck my boyfriend, and I'm here to tell you the whole story. So where should we start? Let's start with how I met Shai. I met Shai through a girl that I used to work with. Now, her and I were best friends, and she introduced me to her friends, and Shai happened to be one of them. I got along great with Shai. Her and I were the closest of friends. We became even closer near the end of this story, but we became really good friends. It always used to be me, her, my other friend, and another friend of ours, the four of us. We'd always be together, we'd always go out, we'd always be like having fun. I knew Shai for a good solid 7 years before any of this that's about to come out happened. So Shai and I were really, really good friends. We did a lot of things together. We were essentially best friends. Let's put that thought on the side for a second and introduce Dingleberry Steve, shall we? So Steve, I had just finished high school. I took a year between high school and college to figure out what I wanted to do. So in that 1 year, I decided to work at a daycare. Now, I was working at this daycare, and I met this guy named Steve, who was one of the kids' dads. And essentially, he would always come in and stare at me and look at me and be kind of weird. And I thought he was cute, but I was dumb, and I was young, and just I was 20 and just dumb, and he was 35. So yeah, he would always come into the daycare to pick up his daughter and whatever, and leave. And I remember one time he would always not gonna lie, we'd always give each other the eyes, hey, he's going, he knew and I knew and whatever, but he'd always come in. And then one time he asked me, he's hey, have you ever been to this nightclub before? And I'm yeah, but every time I've gone there, I don't really remember anything. He'd always only talk to me when there was nobody else around, because I knew he was probably embarrassed. He's a 35-year-old grown-ass man talking to a 20-year-old, but whatever. And I was at the time I thought he was being genuine. I was yeah, I've been there, but I don't really remember ever going there. It's always been a last minute party spot. So he's oh, me and my friends are going there. I was oh, cool, have fun. And then he left, and then I went to go get into my car to leave that night, and there was the gum Stride. Still remember, it was green packaging, Stride gum, and on the back he had wrote down his number, just his number, no name, nothing. And I was so I texted him, I was please don't tell me this is who I think it is. And he's haha, who do you think it is? I'm is this Steve? And he's yeah. So then we started talking and stuff, and I guess two nights after that, I think we all went to that club. Well, he went to the club, and then I went to the club with Shai and my sister and one of our other friends, Michelle. And we all went to the club, and I happened to run into him, and I still remember Shai pulled me away. She's ew, that's disgusting. He's an old man like that. I'm okay, whatever. But I still thought he was cute, and I was you know what? There's nothing gonna be serious about this relationship, so whatever. So I never told Shai because she was so against that whole thing. So yeah, Steve and I started hanging out, and we started really, really enjoying each other's company. And then he asked me to be his girlfriend. I was fuck yeah, I want to be your girlfriend. And then so we started dating. It was one of the healthiest relationships until the one I have now, but that one was the healthiest, happiest relationship I was in. We never fought, ever fought. We never ever had an argument, never fought, never nothing. And I was wow, he's so mature and so much better than all these 20-year-olds that I've been dating. Fuck, what am I doing with my life? So then yeah, we were good friends and dating and boyfriend, girlfriend and stuff. And then I told all my friends except Shai, because Shai was so against this relationship from the beginning. I remember her telling me, she's whatever you do, don't make a big mistake by dating this guy, don't be stupid. And I was okay, fine, whatever. And then, so one time Shai left for vacation or whatever, and then she came back, and I was yo, can I take you out for dinner? I want to talk to you about something, because all our other friends know. And she probably be a good friend, like not feel like I'm going behind your back. So I sat her down. I was like, I just want to let you know, like, that Steve and I are officially dating. Like, he is my boyfriend. She's like, oh, that's so disgusting. Like, I'm disappointed. You're making the biggest mistake in your life. And I was like, okay, well, like, this is what I feel. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can't help who I like. So whatever. She came around to it. Fast forward, we're dating for like 7 months now at this point, and I end up getting into a really bad car accident. It was me, Anisa, our friend Michelle, and our friend Steph, and we were driving to Godridge, and we actually ended up getting in a rollover car accident. If I have some pictures, I'll put them somewhere here right now. But basically, yeah, it was a really bad accident. I called Steve. Steve came and found us and like helped us and whatever, and like we were taken to the hospital. We were at the hospital, and Steve showed up at the hospital, and then Shai showed up at the hospital, and she was like giving him disgusting looks like the whole time. And I was like, yo, like, just chill, like, relax. I know you don't like him. And mind you, she had a boyfriend of like 4 years at the time, and she was just like kind of grossed out about the whole situation, which now when I look back, I'm like, yeah, it was pretty gross, like, to think about like a 20-year-old dating like a 35-year-old. It's pretty fucking nasty, but whatever. Like, at that time, I didn't care. And so, yeah, then slowly she warmed up to the whole idea. She was like, okay, you know what, whatever, like, that's fine. And so her boyfriend and her, like, Steve and I would host dinners at his house, and we would invite Shai and her boyfriend, and we'd be like, hey, guys should come over for dinner, like, we'll have a couple's night. So they'd always come. Like, I'm talking, when I say always, I mean like at least twice a week. They would come over, we would go out for dinner, or we would make dinner. We would have a games night, like, where we would all play games, just the four of us, me, him, her, and her boyfriend, play games. We would watch movies together, and like, it was just like, we did everything together, the four of us. We'd always go out and like all these things. Like, I'm talking, like, she was there for everything. Then one day, Steve calls me, and mind you, I would never really spend the nights at Steve's house. I would like leave his house at like 2-3 a.m., go home, like go to bed, get up, go to work, do the same thing. It was always like, we'd always hang out every day, but like I would never spend the nights there, and not because he didn't want me to, but he would, like, I wouldn't want to spend the nights there, so I'd go home. And then I'd go home and whatever. Then one day he called me, and he's like, hey, can you come over after work? I want to talk to you. Instantly, I knew. 100%, my heart knew. I was like, he's gonna break up with me. I don't know why I thought that, but like now thinking back to it, I'm just like, holy fuck. Like that day I knew, I 100% knew he was gonna break up with me. And he didn't say anything. Like, we weren't having arguments or nothing. Like, he just was like, can you come over? I just want to talk to you. I knew. And I told Steve, I was like, I told fucking Shai, and I was like, he's gonna fucking break up. And she's like, no, he's not. No, he's not. Mind you, that Shai broke up with her boyfriend a few days before this incident happened. And I was like, no, I really feel it. Like, he's gonna break up with me. She's like, no, he's not. So I was like, I need to go out before I go to his place. So like, she came out with me. We did like a shopping spree. Like, she was like, don't worry, like, everything's fine. He's not gonna break up with you. That's ridiculous. Like, he cares about you too much. Like, I swear she would say these things to me. I was like, no, I just have this feeling. So I ended up going to his house, and he broke up with me, essentially. He didn't really give a reason. He's like, you know, I think it's the age, and I think this and that. I'm like, what? Like, you've never made this a concern. Like, are you joking? And he's like, no, this is how I really feel. I was like, okay. I was so devastated. The first place I went was to Shai's house, and we literally sat on her bed, and I just cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. I was so devastated. Like, I was so heartbroken that he just like broke up with me out of nowhere. Like, it was from nowhere. So whatever, time goes by, and at this point Shai was coming over to my house every day because we were both going through a heartbreak. Like, she had just broken up with her boyfriend, Steve had just broken up with me, and like, we were both so heartbroken. And so she would come over. She was over at my house all the time. One day she was like, oh, how about we like start online dating? Like, let's put on online profiles and start meeting new people. Like, it's time for us to move on. I was like, okay, whatever. So she did. She instantly met this guy named Jamie. Jamie was his name. She met this guy named Jamie, And like after she met Jamie, she like disappeared. Like she didn't come around as much. And like I was happy for her because I was like, oh, she moved on. Like she's happy now. But I was still kind of like heartbroken. It was really hard for me to like move without crying. Like I would literally get up, move, and cry. And like there were so many times where I remember like just dropping to the ground, bawling my eyes out because I was like, I'm so lost without this person in my life. Like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't know anything. Like, he didn't say anything to me. He never really like talked to me after that. And like, it was just really hard. But I was happy that she had found someone. So then, she stopped coming around, and it like got super weird because she would ask me like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And I'd tell her, and then she'd be like, I'm like, you want to join? And she's like, no, I'm good. Or she'd be like, hey, where are you going tonight? Or are you like, have you talked to Steve at all recently? And all these things. It's like, no, like not really. And I remember the one time I did hang out with Steve, she found out about it because I told her, and she's like, oh, cool, that's so cool, like whatever, like. And then the next day, Steve would know that that she knew, and he would get super mad. He's like, why are you telling? Like he would never say her, but he'd be like, why are you telling people that we're hanging out? Like this is supposed to be between you and I. I'm like, what? Like what's going on? Anyways, so I started catching on to things when I started realizing that things weren't making sense. She was asking me where I was just to check up on me, and then never want to hang out. And I remember I told my friend Michelle what I thought. She's like, you are crazy. Like, okay, you're paranoid. And I was like, no, I really feel like they're like hanging out. She's like, there's no way they're hanging out. Like, what the hell? She's your friend. Like, she would never do that. Something. She would take a bullet for you. And I was like, I don't know. So Michelle and I came up with a story to make fun of Steve. Basically, we hardcore made fun of Steve in front of Shai to see if that would get back to Steve. And it did. And that's when Michelle was convinced that there was something wrong there. And then I remember I threw a girls' night party at my house, and I was like, yo, like, Michelle, tonight's the night we're gonna find out if she's been talking to him. So long story short, basically I fooled her into putting balloons up her shirt and to go ask the neighbor for sugar while I went through her phone. And it was confirmed that they were talking. So I was like, is there anything that you need to tell me? And she's like, you already know. Instantly, I just lost my shit. Like, you fucking whore. And like saying all these things to her. And then essentially, I drove to his house. The first thing I did when he opened the door, I slapped him so hard across the face. And I was like, you piece of shit. And then after that, I left. A few weeks go by. And mind you, from the point where I found out that they were hooking up, or it wasn't confirmed that they were hooking up yet. I just knew they were hanging out, to the point where I sat down and had coffee with her. That was about like 2 weeks span. I was the most depressed human being on earth. I would literally go to bed and dream about killing myself. There was times when I literally woke up and I didn't want to be alive because I would just felt so like heartbroken. Like that was the first time that I truly felt my heart break. Like, holy fuck, I cannot believe like I was fucked over that bad. I got over it kind of, and I agreed to meet up with her for coffee. And basically, this is the story. This is how it all went down on their end. They started talking, they started texting. She said it was all innocent at first, and then things just like escalated, and they started having feelings for one another. Their conversations escalated into more in-depth conversations, and then they started slowly hanging out. And then it got to a point that a month before he broke up with me, they started being physical with one another. She would wait literally until 2 a.m. every night, until 2 a.m. until I left his house, just so she can go to his house. She would spend the nights with them, and then she would leave at like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning before his kids got up to go to school. She would leave before they got up. I remember when she met Jamie, she showed me these sex scars that she had on her back. They were like deep scratches. And she would always say like, oh, Jamie gave me this and Jamie gave me that. Jamie didn't exist. There was no Jamie. This girl was sick and twisted in the mind enough to show me as I'm heartbroken, crying to her one minute about my breakup. Essentially the sex marks that my boyfriend was giving her. And just that alone fucked me up for so long, to think that like my best friend betrayed me so hard that way. I didn't give a fuck about him. At that time I was like, you're both in the wrong, but you're supposed to be my best friend. Like, you're supposed to be there for me. You're not supposed to do the things that you were doing. And she essentially did. Wow, they're fucked. The things that she did to show me that Jamie did to her, when in all reality, Jamie never existed. It was all Steve that was doing these things to her, was disgusting. And when I think about it, I get disgusted. So fast forward, they stay together. Nobody wanted to be her friend anymore because of the things that she did. And mind you, I never once told my friends not to be friends with her, because they were friends with her before they were friends with me. And I never expected them to choose sides. But, I mean, would you ever want to be friends with a hoe that like, slept with one of your friends' boyfriends? I wouldn't. So they didn't talk to her. So she essentially had no one else in her life, and she just had him. And so, yeah, they got married. They've been married for a while now. And when I say karma is a bitch, karma is a bitch, because this is going to sound so heartless and so unhumane of me to say, but no one will truly understand the pain I went through. And I'm not saying her pain was the same as my pain, but she got just a glimpse of the pain that I felt, the depression I went through, the fact that I would go to bed and dream about ways to kill myself. She ended up getting pregnant. So they got pregnant together before they got married, and she carried the baby to full term, and she gave birth to a stillborn. And when I say karma is a fucking bitch, karma is a fucking bitch. And it does not like upset me that happened to her. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you guys. I'm a very kind-hearted and genuine human being, and you guys have seen that. I open up to you guys about a lot of things, but to have her feel a little bit remotely of the pain that I felt brought comfort to me. And it sucks that had to happen to her, but it did. And then they got married, and now they have a kid of their own, and she's happy, whatever suits them, like, happy for you. But yeah, so that's the story about me getting fucked over, about my best friend sleeping with my boyfriend. It taught me a lot. It also gave me a lot of trust issues, a lot of trust fucking issues. But yeah, that was the first time that I was royally fucked over. Ooh, hiccup. Anyways, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And as always, I love you guys so much. And thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys liked this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, sorry. If you guys have any questions that you want to ask me, go ahead, email them to me at AskAtousa. I have to sneeze. That's me. Yeah, anyways, if you guys have any questions that you guys want to ask me, go ahead and ask them. You guys can send me an email at askatousa@gmail.com, and where I will be answering all your personal questions that you have towards me. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys have a safe and happy weekend, and I'll see you guys back here on Monday. Bye guys.